Hey guys, Frank Duffy of Par 4 Performance coming to you from Cressy Sports Performance here in Hudson, Massachusetts. Today I just want to say thank you for subscribing to our newsletter, and here's your complimentary Kinstretch class. Now, what we're going to do today is learn the basics of controlled articular rotations and also go over a couple basic pails and rails contractions which will help you expand your range of motion, and that should help you feel better on the golf course with your everyday life and anything you intend on doing in a weight room or lifestyle-wise. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go through our cars. Like I said, the controlled articular rotations. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up in three different options. Option one is going to be sitting back to my heels with the feet planted under me. Option two will be with the heels up. And option three will be tall kneeling. Now this is going to be different for each person based off how you feel. I typically prescribe this position because it gives me a feel if my hips are swaying around. If that's a discomfortable position for you though, I want you to switch to one of the other two. The first thing we're going to go through is a neck car. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up tension throughout my body. I'm going to try to squeeze my fists at about 30 to 50% intensity, and then I'm going to punch down towards the floor just to make sure that my whole body is solidified while I just move my neck. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chin down to my collarbone, and I'm going to try to rotate to the left, tracing my the collarbone all the way through. I'm going to start to peel back, focusing on not moving anything but my neck in this position. I'm going to come into the opposite side and then trace down into the right collarbone. As we go through this, we're going to go two in each direction. The second time around, I'm going to try to build up a little bit more tension and work through that circle a little slower. So same thing, building tension through the hands, punching down towards the floor. I'm going to tuck the chin down, tracing to the left, focusing on not shrugging my shoulders. Everything stays still, just the neck moves. Rotating into the right side and then back down. And then we'll go two to the right. As you go through this, if there's any pinching points that are painful and really tight, I want you to back off of that a little bit. So what I mean by that is, if I get to this position here and it starts to get painful, I'm going to back off slightly to make sure my neck's not cranking back. So I come up a little bit and I start to peel back, working through my greatest pain-free range of motion as I do this. And as you go through it, we use our cars as an assessment tool to compare my left side to my right side and to figure out which joints don't work as effectively. Because the joint that doesn't work effectively is usually the joint that's also going to have some type of injury or discomfort throughout your everyday life. So we're going to go through a second rep on that right side, tracing down to the collarbone, trying to draw the biggest circle I possibly can with my chin. As I go through, my body's not moving. That's the key to these. Tracing to the left side, and then down. After we get our 2 reps there, we can take our attention from the neck and we're going to come down to the spine now, so my upper back. So I'll show you this one from the side so you understand what you're looking for here. So I'm keeping my heels planted to my butt. I'm going to cross my hands over my shoulders, and then from here I'm just going to peel myself down through my spine. I'm focused on my hips not coming off my heels. So this can be my guide for me to make sure I'm just using my spine. Once I can't peel down anymore, I'm going to rotate to the left, trying to turn my body, make sure that my hips don't sway side to side. So now I'm coming across, trying to peel my shoulders back. I'm going to arch the back as much as I possibly can. I'm going to start to rotate into the right side and then back down towards the floor. And then we're going to go through the same thing. I want you to think that if you were looking from above, you're drawing a circle with the top of your shoulders as you go through this. You'll see that if you are a golfer, you'll probably have much better rotation to the side that your backswing is on versus your opposite side. So we're going to do the same thing, peeling down until I can't peel down anymore. Rotating to the left, starting to pull back through the upper back. Rotating to the right side, and then peeling back down towards the floor. And the typical compensation pattern for this is if you let the shoulders round forward or you try to peel back rather than actually using the spine itself. Now we're gonna go 2 to the right, and I'll show you guys from the side with this one so that you understand the angle from both directions. So now from here, I'm peeling forward. I'm gonna rotate to the right, trying to peel this right shoulder back as much as I can through the spine, arching the back, rotating, and as I go, my eyes are following me. Come into the left side, then down towards the floor. We do one more rep, peeling forward and to the side, trying to rotate as much as I can, arching the back, coming back forward, and then down towards the floor on the left side. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the first rep, 30 to 50% intensity. That second rep, about 50 to 70. Just trying to turn on your muscles a little bit more as you go through it. The next one we're gonna go through is a scapular car. So what I'm gonna do now is, I'm gonna come to half kneeling here, and I'm gonna focus on putting my middle finger on the seam of my shorts. I'm gonna try to keep the whole arm glued to my side. So I'm trying not to bend the elbow or the wrist. So now from here, I'm gonna glue the arm to the side. I'm gonna try to peel my shoulder forward, make sure my hand stays on the middle part of my seam. I'm gonna come up towards my ear. I'm gonna peel back, focusing on my neck not moving, and then down, try to pull the shoulder towards the floor. I'm gonna do the same thing going forward towards you. I'm gonna lift up to the ear, peeling back, and then down into my pocket. Then we can reverse the movement with the same thing, starting by moving the shoulder back. And again, I'm focused on this staying straight. I'm not bending my elbow. Peeling into my ear, peeling forward, and then down into the front pocket now. And as I move the shoulder, I'm focused on not rotating my body. That's a key with this. We're gonna do one last one. I'll show you from the side. So the first move is gonna be my shoulder blade pulling back. Then I'm gonna try to lift up as high as I can. I'm gonna peel forward as much as I possibly can. And then down into the front pocket. Once you get 2 in each direction, you switch to the opposite side. And then comparing, especially with this one, you want to compare left to right, because if you feel any type of deviation here, you'll probably feel a compensation at the shoulder if we do any rowing exercises or any pressing exercises, because the shoulder will want to do the work rather than the actual shoulder blade, so the scapula. So we're going to go through it again. I'm going to peel forward as much as I possibly can, trying to shorten this distance between my chest and my shoulder. Then I'm going to peel up towards my ear. I'm going to try to pull back and then down into my back pocket, trying to feel the muscles of the shoulder blade do this movement. Peeling forward, up, back, and then down again. One last time from the side. I'm going to peel back, up, forward, and then down. Now, after we do the scap, we'll do the actual shoulder itself. So I can come back to that collapsed position where I'm sitting on my heels. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to draw the biggest circle I can with my hand. So from here, I'm going to reach towards the camera and then reach towards the ceiling nice and slow, pretending that someone was pushing against me as I come up. Now, once I get to the top, I'm going to hit a roadblock. Once I hit my roadblock, I'm going to rotate the palm away from me, trying to get full rotation of my shoulder. I'm going to try to keep reaching back, staying on the same line throughout that circle. And once I come down to the bottom, my palm is going to be facing away from me. So to see that from the side, my hand is facing you now, and I'm going to reverse the movement, trying to reach back as far as I can. As I reach back, I make sure I don't deviate forward with my body. I'm staying nice and still. Now from here, I'm going to rotate the palm as much as I can, then come over the top. Make sure just my shoulder is moving. I'm not rotating my body. And this is the easiest part of movement, but I want you to think that I'm pushing down against you as you come forward. And now I have one more rep coming forward. I'm going to reach up towards the ceiling, make sure my head stays still.
Once I hit my roadblock, rotating the palm away from me. I'm going to keep rotating the hand as I come across, and then down to the side. And again, my hand is facing towards the camera now. I'm not finishing here. Now I'm getting full extension back as much as I possibly can. I'm going to rotate the palm over, then come over the top, trying to stay on the same line the whole time. And then back down towards the floor. Now we go to the left side. And again, just like the neck, if there's any pinching points or pain, you're going to back off of that a little bit. So if I get to the top and I start to feel pain here, I'm just going to bring the shoulder down a little bit and work through the greatest pain-free range I have. And coming around, keeping rotation through the shoulder, and then down towards the floor, palm facing the camera. Now I'm going to reverse the movement, extending back, rotating the palm, and coming back over the top throughout my greatest pain-free range of motion. And same thing, building tension on the way down. With all of our cars, we want to make sure that it's done under control with some type of muscular contraction. That way we're really working on our full range of motion and learn how to control it at the same time. So I'm going to do the same thing one last time, reaching out in front as far as I can. I'm going to reach up towards the ceiling, rotating the hand away from me. And I'm going to keep rotating as I reach back. Keep rotating until I'm down at the bottom and my hand is facing away from me. Extending back, rotating, and then coming over the top. Now, two final ones for the upper body we're going to go through are the elbow and the wrist. So for the elbow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin my shoulders to my side just to make sure that there's no movement at the shoulders. From here, I'm going to pretend I had dumbbells in my hand, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to curl up, trying to bring my fingers towards my shoulders. Once I get to the top, I'm going to rotate away from me through the forearm and then push down towards the floor. And I'm going to repeat that movement, rotating all the way. Make sure that the elbows stay pinned to the side so I'm not making it a shoulder movement. Pin to the side, palms are coming up as much as I can. I'm going to pull back up and then slowly rotate, pushing back down. And again, building tension throughout my body as I do this. Once I get to the bottom of that second rep, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to reverse the rotation. So what I mean by that is now I'm going to push with the palms facing down. Once I get to the top, I'm going to rotate over and push down with my palms facing up. And again, getting full extension of the elbows, getting full rotation of the forearms. And one last rep, I'm going to push up and pull my hands across and then back down. And then finally, we're going to work on the wrist. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to keep that elbow pinned to the side and I'm going to lock my forearm into place so I don't rotate the forearm. So now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my hand to start. The first move is going to be me peeling my knuckles down towards the floor. From there, I'm going to rotate to the pinky side. I'm going to peel my wrist up towards my forearm and then rotate towards the thumb side. And as I do that wrist rotation, I'm focused on not turning the forearm. I just want wrist movement here. And finishing that circle. Same thing, rotating to the pinky side, peeling up towards the wrist, thumb side, and then down. Now repeat the movement, go to the thumb side. Make sure we work the joint in both sides that it could rotate through. Up towards the wrist, pinky side, and down towards the floor. And again, I want you to think that you're drawing a circle with the top of your knuckles as you move through this. And then switching sides. And then just a quick review, your three positions for where you set up with your cars could be heels tucked under, toes up, or tall kneeling. So don't think that you have to do everything in that position. So now from here, I'm going to go to the right wrist, peeling down towards the floor, rotating towards the pinky side, coming up to the wrist, thumb side, and then back down towards the floor. If you're someone that does a lot of typing, this is going to be very important for you to make sure that we stay out of this position and learn how to regain wrist extension. We're going to do the same thing, pinky side, peeling up, peeling to the thumb side, and then pulling the knuckles towards the floor. We'll reverse the movement, drawing the biggest circle we can with our fist, and then really focusing on that forearm not moving. And now that's the series for the upper body. Now we'll start to work on the lower half, starting with what's called cat-camel. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up on my hands and knees, and I'm going to try to arch my back as much as I possibly can. Now from here, what I'm going to work on is just trying to move my tailbone without allowing my whole spine to move. So first move is going to be thinking of where my pant line is in space. I'm going to just try to tuck that under. Now I'm slowly going to work up towards my belly button and try to pull that up towards the ceiling. And from there, I'm going to think trying to pull my rib cage up, my sternum, and then my collarbones. And then the last thing to move is going to be my chin towards the floor. Now I'm going to reverse that movement, starting from the tailbone again, trying to pull my belly button towards the floor, then my rib cage, sternum, collarbone, and then the last thing to move is going to be my chin. So now when I'm here, I'm trying to bring my tailbone towards the back of my head as much as possible. I'm going to repeat that, tucking the tailbone under, slowly working my way up the spine, trying to feel each segment move one by one. Now I'm in my full flexion. Reverse the movement from the tailbone. Belly button comes towards the floor. Then the rib cage. Then my head pulls back. With cat-camel, this is typically the toughest one for people to figure out how to move their pelvis again. So it's going to take a little bit of time if you can't figure it out initially. Just keep working through it. Try to focus on where your spine is in space and just trying to move each vertebrae one by one. Now from there, we'll set up in the same position and go into our hip cars. So I'm setting up hands and knees again. I'm going to have a slight arch in my back. I don't want to be fully arched, but the reason why is as I go through this, I want to feel if my spine moves. We're trying to keep this still the whole time. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my left knee towards my elbow. Once I can't go anymore, I'm going to bring my knee out towards the side, like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. From there, I'm going to rotate my heel towards the ceiling, try to kick the ceiling, and then come back down towards the floor. And we're going to repeat the movement. And if you want to give yourself a guide, to make sure that you're not moving your spine, you can put something on your back. So now I'm going to take the P-knot and I'm going to focus on not letting it fall off. So from here, bringing the knee up, out to the side, rotating around, and then down towards the floor. And again, it doesn't have to be this. You can use a baseball, a cross ball, a tennis ball, anything to give you a guide to make sure you're not moving your back. Now from there, I'll reverse the movement, starting by kicking back with my heel. So I'm trying to bring my heel to the ceiling. Then I'm going to bring the knee out to the side, trying to bring my knee towards my elbow, and then back to the floor. So what I'll tell people is I want them to pretend that there's a foam roller to their side. Your goal is to get your knee over that roller. So now the same thing, I'm going to bring the knee up, rotate out, try not to touch the roller, elbow touch the elbow, and then back down. And we'll repeat the same thing on the other side. I'll show you from the front so you understand what's going on. So now same thing, I'm going to bring my knee to the elbow and out to the side. I'll make sure my left elbow doesn't bend. I'm going to rotate the heel towards the ceiling,
and come back down towards the floor. One more coming forward, then up, out to the side, rotate the heel, and then down towards the floor. Now reversing the movement. And again, trying to draw the biggest circle you can with the top of your knee. So my knee comes up, knee comes out to the side, knee trying to touch the elbow, and back down. Cool. And then we'll do 2 last ones for the lower body, starting with the knee. So the tibia, the shin bone, is something that we typically overlook when we go through our exercises. What we want to work on is getting full rotation of that tibia, an external rotation, an internal rotation. So from here, I'm going to make sure that my ankle doesn't move in or out. I'm trying to keep this as one piece. So I want you to pretend as there's a piece of tape from your ankle to your knee. Now from here, I'm just going to rotate out and rotate in. Pivoting through my heel, make sure that my foot doesn't move. Slow rotations in and out. Once you get the idea of that, then we'll take the elbow and bring the foot off the floor. So now from here, we lose our point of contact, so it's going to make it a little tougher. I'm going to rotate out, extend up as much as I can, rotate in, and then back down. Same thing, rotating out to the pinky side, up to the toe side, and then down. Now you can reverse the movement, going big toe side, up, in, and down. One last rotation, rotate big toe side, extend up as much as you can, point out, and then down. I'll do the same thing on the right side. Start by just getting a feel for that rotation of the tibia. And as you go through that, I just want you to pretend that someone's pushing against your pinky side as you rotate out, and then pushing against your big toe side as you rotate in. Just to really feel that tibia rotate in and out. Once you get the rotation down, same thing. Locking the elbow under, holding the hands together. I'm going to rotate out, extend up, rotate in, and then push back down towards the floor. Rotate to the pinky side, extend up, rotate to the big toe side, and then push down. And you'll reverse the movement. Rotate pinky side, and back down. Now the last carves we'll go over today are for the ankle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my foot out until my toes come off the floor. That way I'm able to get full plantar flexion, so toe down movement as I can. Now I want to make sure that the tibia doesn't move here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down towards the floor with my toes. I'm going to rotate to the big toe side, peel the ankle up towards my shin, and then rotate across. Make sure that there's no movement at this tibia. So I'll use my hands to make sure I'm keeping it locked in. Drawing the biggest circle you can with your ankle. Gas pedaling down towards the floor, rotating across. Now I'm going to reverse the movement, going to the pinky side, rotate pinky toe side, pulling the toes up towards the shin, rotating to the big toe side, and gas pedaling down towards the floor. And we'll do one last one. Trying to draw the biggest circle you can with the top of your toes. And then switching sides. Now as you go through this, again, the tibia stays still, but also focusing on the hip not moving around as well. So I'm sliding out until my toes come up. And from there, gas pedal down, go to the big toe side, try to bring the toes to the shin, rotate across, and gas pedal towards the floor on the pinky side. Make sure you control the movement.
and just moving the ankle. Now reverse the movement, going to the pinky side, peeling up towards the shin, coming across, and then down towards the floor. And one last one. Coming across, and then down. So that's the card series. At first, it's probably gonna be a little difficult for you to really control every single joint. The key to it is making sure that you practice it every single day and do it with intent. If I just go through the motions of the exercises without focusing on it, I'm not gonna get better over time. Again, 2 to 3 rotations on each joint. It'll take upwards of 5 to 10 minutes once you really get the hang of it, and your body will thank you down the line, because now you're moving your joint throughout its full range of motion under control. And I want you to think of it as flossing your joints, the same way you would floss your teeth on a daily basis. Now that we've gone through our CARS routine, I want to break down progressive and regressive angular isometric loading, or also known as pails and rails. Now we use pails and rails to expand on our range of motion, but also learn how to control the current range that we do have. So to do that today, what I'm going to break down is 90-90 position. So 90-90 position is going to be me setting up my ankle, my knee, and my hip into a 90-degree angle, and then doing the same thing on the back leg. The hip, the knee, and the ankle line up to 90. Now to make sure that you're in 90s, what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at your front shin and your back thigh. Those two should run parallel with one another. Second thing I want you to do is look at the front thigh and the back shin. Again, those should be parallel with each other as well. Now, I'm going to use my hands for today. I'm going to try to get my chest over my front leg as much as I can without collapsing. I'm trying to arch my back, and I'm trying to take this hip and push it behind me to really feel a stretch on the outside of my hip. If you're feeling a stretch in here or any type of tightness, it means that you're probably rounding the back. So to see that from the side, I set up in my 90s. I'm trying to hover my belly button over my front leg. Okay? So now from here, what my pails contraction is going to be me pushing my ankle, my knee, and my hip down towards the floor. So I'm gradually going to work up to 100% contraction. What I want you to think is there's a scale under you. You're trying to make that scale heavier throughout the entire duration of this contraction. So we're going to push down into the floor 20% as hard as we can. As we push down, we want to make sure we maintain our torso positioning with this. Now we're going to push down at 40%. Gradually making that scale heavier, make it 60%. And as I do it, I'm also going to be pushing down the back leg, building tension throughout my whole body. Now I'm going to push down at 80%, maintaining my whole position, make sure I stay solidified into the floor. Now we're going to push down at 100%. So my hardest contraction into the floor. Now I'm going to hold that for 10 seconds. I'm going to hold 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm going to freeze here. Now I'm going to try to pull myself deeper into the stretch with my torso. I'm going to try to lift my knee off the floor. I'm trying to lift this whole leg, shortening the distance between my chest and my knee. Make sure that my spine isn't moving. It's me using my hips to pull me down deeper. I'm going to hold that for 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to make sure I don't lose that stretch on the outside of my hip. I'm going to relax towards the floor. Now when you're here, we would hold this for 2 minutes just to allow that adaptation to set in. If I just do my contractions and collapse out of it, I'm not going to make a long-term physiological change to improve my mobility. So now I will show you guys from the side on the opposite leg to understand it a little bit better where your spine should be in space. So I'm in my 90s. Now my pails contraction again is pushing the ankle, the knee, and the hip into the floor on both sides. I'll make sure I stay upright. My belly button's coming towards my knee as much as it can. Now make sure I don't round my back. I'm staying upright. So now we're going to start by pushing down into that scale at 20% intensity. We're going to start to push down at 40%. I'm pushing down with the front leg, down with the back leg, and I'm staying upright with my chest. Now we're going to push at 60%. Pushing down at 80%. The hardest contraction you can muster up, pushing down into the floor with the ankle, the knee, and the hip. We're gonna hold for 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, freezing again, pulling down towards the floor with my chest, trying to lift the foot off the floor, trying to pull this angle together as much as I can. I'm gonna keep holding. Make sure I don't round my back. I'm staying as flat as I possibly can. Holding for 3 more seconds. 2, 1, relaxing. And when I relax, I'm just gonna take full inhales, full exhales, trying to allow my body to adapt into the new position it got into. Now you'll see here, I'm making sure that my back's not rounded. I'm keeping that position that I was able to maintain here. I don't want to lose that stretch of the hip. Once I get the stretch, I'm just going to hold at the bottom. As I said, from 90 seconds, 2 minutes, even longer than that, just to allow your body to adapt to the new stimulus it provided it.
Again, both Joe and I want to say thank you for subscribing to our newsletter and wanting to learn more from us to preventing injuries and also improving your performance, not only on the golf course, but with your everyday life, to make sure that we resist injury and we're able to keep going in the future. So if you're interested in joining the online virtual Kinstretch group, all you essentially need is either a baseball, a lacrosse ball, a tennis ball, something along those lines, a P-knot, not necessarily a P-knot, but anything that you can use as a target. So what I mean by that is we do what's called a hover, and we just need a target to get over. So a shoe works there, the half roller works, anything that gives you a guide to get over that target. Again, that's all you need outside of your body weight, and that's how you can improve your mobility. We look forward to hearing from you. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at par4performance@gmail.com. Thank you very much, guys.